favorite high-end highlighters. I've been wanting to do a video with my favorite highlighters for quite a while now. I just didn't get around to it till about today, obviously. It's currently like raining a lot outside, so I really wanted to film a video today while I had the time, and also I'm still waiting for my boyfriend to text me to see when I'm coming over today. But I decided to film this before I go to his house, so let's just jump right into it. It's not really going to be in a specific order. I'm going to try and talk about like my favorites that I've had for a long time. I'm also going to talk about my top favorites and more recent finds in my collection. So I really just wanted to start off with some classic formulas that honestly you can basically do no wrong with. So the first one that I have to mention still to this day that I still think has one of the best highlighting formulas out there is Becca Cosmetics. I wanted to talk about the one that I'm wearing on my face today and also my beloved Champagne Pop. So the first one I wanted to talk about is the Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector pressed in the shade Opal. I'm actually wearing that one on my face today, and since I've ever gotten Becca highlighters, Opal and Champagne Pop have always been probably the two that were my first loves of highlight that I still love to this day. There's just something about Becca Shimmering Skin Perfectors that are like nothing else on the skin. They're just so beautiful and intense. So this one is Opal. As you guys can see, I do have a pretty significant pan in this highlighter. I've had significant pan in this for a while. Sorry, I just blew off all the excess highlight on the top because I literally just used this to apply to my face. And I think that this is still one of the most unique colors in my collection, and I am going to try and swatch every single shade for you guys. And this one is just a stunning, like, tan kind of color, like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just a very, very unique shade to my collection. I really don't have anything else like this. And it's just such an easy formula to use. Like, honestly, when I was picking it up today, it just glides on, and it's so pigmented that you barely need to pick up any on your brush. And as soon as you apply it, it's intense and beautiful, and that's why it's still one of my favorite highlights ever. I absolutely love Opal. And then, of course, I can't really talk about Becca highlighters without mentioning Champagne Pop and also Prosecco Pop. I absolutely love these two highlights that were created by Jaclyn Hill. But everybody knows that Champagne Pop really changed the game for YouTubers collaborating with brands. Champagne Pop is really the first of its kind. It was everywhere. It was all over Sephora. It was all over YouTube. And it really boosted Becca as well. And a lot of people, it definitely boosted their sales quite a bit for their Shimmering Skin Perfectors, because I don't think one person didn't buy Champagne Pop. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it was definitely one of my first highlighters. I originally had it in the individual packaging, but sadly that one started crumbling after I did hit pan on it, because Champagne Pop was the first highlighter ever that I hit pan on. Because I literally used it almost every single day back in the day. When it first came out, I was wearing Champagne Pop every day. I was adding it to every single highlighter that I would use. I would wear it for every single look. So basically it looked like this, but then it started crumbling, unfortunately. Can I speak? I'm like, unfortunately. So this one, of course, is Champagne Pop is the middle one, and Prosecco Pop is the gold, obviously. And just look how they reflect. There is just nothing like Becca highlighters, I swear. I mean, I found, of course, some other formulas that I've absolutely fallen in love with, but I can't not talk about my favorite highlighting high-end formulas without mentioning Becca Cosmetics. So, they're just beautiful, and I still think that the Shimmering Skin Perfector Pressed is their best formula. I did have the liquid version of Champagne Pop, and I also had the, I never owned the poured versions. I just always thought that the pressed ones were just the ones that I wanted to go with. I also don't really love the smaller, like, what are they called? The smaller ones that are like Champagne Dream Flashes Bellini, like I have that one as well. I don't love that formula half as much as these. These are super intense and buttery when I feel like those smaller ones are just very dry and don't really perform as well as these do. So these are still a classic highlight, still one of my top favorites. I absolutely love those. Okay, so I can't really talk about high-end highlighting formulas also without mentioning Anastasia Beverly Hills. So I wanted to mention a couple of highlighters from her as well. I think still my favorite highlighting formula from Anastasia Beverly Hills is her original illuminating formula. I do love the glow kits, but these were just absolutely stunning on the skin. So these are the original illuminators. Now, I don't know if you guys have these, but if you guys ended up owning these are absolutely stunning. I wasn't sure if I wanted to talk about these because I don't think you can get them anymore. But I will show you guys an updated version of So Hollywood that I think is absolutely phenomenal. But I'm going to show you guys these first. I used to use the crap out of these when I first got them as well. These are definitely the other highlighting formula that I absolutely fell in love with when I first started getting into a highlighter as well. I absolutely love the Anastasia highlighters. So the first one is the shade Starlight, and this is a gorgeous highlight for fair skin tones. But it's also not a stark white. It's like a really light white gold, and it's literally stunning. Like, this formula is also super, super intense and pigmented as well. Just as stunning as the Becca highlighters. I feel like they're very similar, but the Anastasia is also like super, super shiny and intense as well. So that one is Starlight, and it's just such a stunning like white shade. I'll try and give you guys a little bit of a better swatch. But it's so freaking beautiful and intense that it's such a gorgeous, unique color to my collection. I definitely don't have any other highlighter this shade. I feel like Opal and Starlight are probably the two most unique shades I'm going to be showing you guys. There's just something about this one. It's absolutely stunning on the skin. And the formula of these are just so beautiful and intense. Like, Anastasia makes bomb highlighters. If you guys have not tried at least one highlight from Anastasia, I highly recommend them because I do own the most highlighters from Anastasia Beverly Hills because she makes amazing highlighters. And this one is, of course, my beloved So Hollywood, and this one is probably the first gold highlight that I absolutely fell in love with because I didn't have really a gold highlight from Becca until I got Prosecco Pop and that face palette, but I think I had already had this way before that. And again, it's such a stunning, this is still one of my top favorite gold highlighters in my collection. I used the crap out of these when I first got them, and I still absolutely love them. So that one is So Hollywood. As you can see, it's a lot deeper than Starlight. And again, it's just they're like a beautiful, almost foiled formula. And you just really can't get any better than these highlights. So, I'll show you guys in a minute what I think is the more updated version of these, but again, these are absolutely stunning. So if you guys were able to get your hands on these, or if you're able to find them on eBay or Outlook, I would suggest you buy these because these are absolutely amazing. I wish she would come out with more colors in these because I did want the other two shades as well, but they also said that those two were more, the other colors that came out with these were more suited for darker skin tones, and this was better like for my fair skin tone. So yeah, so that's it for those. And then of course I can't really mention a favorite highlighter from Anastasia Beverly Hills without mentioning the Anastasia Amrezy highlights. So this is what the packaging looks like, and like I've said to you guys like a million times, I really don't like Amrezy, but for some reason I bought this highlight, and this highlight is so stunning on the skin. Every single time I use this highlighter, it just glides on. It's like a beautiful, like intense gelée formula. And it's just so gold, but it's also just so intense and blinding and so beautiful. So that one is Amrezy's highlight right here. Hopefully you guys can see that. I kind of swatched it next to the Becca ones. I'm going to look at it on my hand. Yeah, it definitely is lighter in gold. It's like more of like a whitish gold compared to So Hollywood. So Hollywood's definitely more gold. But formula-wise, I kind of want to swatch it next to the actual Anastasia ones. They're still very similar. Honestly, the formula almost looks the same. So this one is Amrezy underneath So Hollywood. So those are the two together. And looking at them in person, they are very close in color. So Hollywood, again, is just a little bit more of a yellow gold, but they almost look identical on camera. But they're pretty similar formula-wise. Obviously, since they're both the same company, they're going to be pretty similar in formula. So, but this is one of my most used highlights ever. I use this so much. Like anytime that I want to add more of an intensity or more of a gold to a highlight that I'm wearing, I always reach for this, and I always like put it over something because it adds like this beautiful like intense sheen. Like it's not really glittery whatsoever. It's just so intense, and it just makes your cheeks look so beautiful. That this is definitely one of my most used highlights. And I've had it for a year now, and I definitely use and abuse this guy. So I really do love this. I don't think you guys can get your hands on this either anymore, but if you can, I think they brought it back once, like a couple of months ago, but the first time they brought it back, it was super limited edition, when they came out with it, and then they brought it back like a couple months back, and it was super limited edition. So, yeah, but again, I freaking love it. And then speaking of collaboration highlights with Anastasia Beverly Hills, you guys know I can't talk about, again, I cannot talk about Anastasia Beverly Hills highlights without mentioning this glow kit. I wanted to mention at least one glow kit because the glow kits are pretty much what started it all for me as well. I think my first highlights in my collection were like the two original glow kits, like the Gleam kit and the That Glow, I believe it's called, or something. I'm not really sure what it's called. Okay, so the glow kit that I wanted to mention, of course, is the Anastasia Nicole Guerrero glow kit. As you guys know, if you have been watching my channel for a long time, I absolutely love this glow kit. It's been like my absolute favorite glow kit ever since it came out. It basically like blew all the other glow kits out of the water for me. I just think that the highlights in here are so beautiful and intense on the skin. Some people weren't really a fan of this because they felt like it was too glittery, but for me, you know that I love a super intense, blinding highlight that when these came out, I was just like, these are so stunning on the skin. I think my most worn ones were definitely Kitty Cat and probably Glow Getter, but I used the hell out of this, and I would mix and match every single one. I felt like every single one really mixed well and beautiful together. Like I would mix Kitty Cat and Forever Lit together all the time. I would mix Forever Young and 143, Forever Young and Glow Getter. Daydreamer is such a gorgeous, like orangey tangerine highlight on the skin. I absolutely love it. They're just all amazing. So I'll just swatch my favorite ones. So this one is, what the heck? Why is my phone still going off? So this one is Glow Getter, this one is Kitty Cat, and this one is Forever Young. So look how intense those are. Like, ridiculously foiled. Like, they're still amazing. Like, every time I swatch them, I absolutely love these highlighters. And I also love Daydream as well. which is one of my favorites to wear when I wear like more like warm tone orangey kind of eyeshadows. And that one is Daydream right here. And it's really, really pretty. So that one is also one of my favorites. But as you guys can see from the swatches, that's how intense that they are. Sometimes, though, they can be a bit chalky and a little bit difficult to apply. Like sometimes they can show up like super crumbly on the face. I feel like over time they've kind of gotten that way. I don't know if it's just because that it's an old palette, since this is only supposed to last 12 months. It might just be because of that, but I feel like if I would ever have to declutter it at some point, I feel like I got a ton of use out of it. But I really love Nicole Guerrero. She's always been one of my favorite YouTubers, but what's weird is that she never uses highlight in her videos anymore. Like, she never grabs her highlight. When she first came out with this, she used it all the time. And I understand, like, she doesn't want to beat it to death and use it constantly in all of her videos, but it's just a little bit surprising that she doesn't even use highlighter anymore usually. Okay, and then, of course, the last highlighter that I, of course, wanted to mention in this video is my Anastasia Beverly Hills Loose Highlighter. I absolutely love it. And you guys know I've gotten into more, like, loose highlighters over the past couple of months, especially as soon as these came out. And this is just a gorgeous, stunning gold highlight, and I've been wearing the crap out of this one ever since I got it. It's just, honestly, these highlights from Anastasia Beverly Hills are amazing. I honestly wanted, like, all of the shades. Like, that's how crazy I was about these, but I only have this one and Snowflake, but So Hollywood is definitely my favorite. Because obviously it's a gold highlight, and you guys know, again, how much I love gold highlighters. And this one is just a beautiful, intense gold. Of course, I freaking love it. It's amazing. And I highly recommend this if you guys love a stunning, intense highlighter. This is definitely the one that you should go for, because I add this to absolutely everything. And it's just so beautiful on the skin, and I add it to every single highlight that I'm wearing. And I always add it when I'm going out, and when I always want to add an extra intensity to my highlight, this is always the one I grab for. And whenever, like, I want something to be really glowy and intense on the skin when I'm going out, and I know I'm going to be out for a long time, this is always the highlight that I reach for, and it always looks freaking stunning, and I absolutely love these. Okay, sorry I keep on pausing the video. Let's just get through this, because I feel like there's so many formulas that I want to talk about. But the last, like, specific formula that I want to talk about, and then we'll just mention, like, my favorite highlights. Again, I can't really mention a favorite formula or highlight without mentioning my Ofra highlighters. You guys know how much I fell in love with these last year when I first tried them. And ever since I've tried them, I just have, like, loved them for such a long time. I think I tried them last January, so I think I've had them for quite a while in my collection. But I was really, really wanting to try their highlights because I kept on hearing about how amazing they were. So, of course, my favorite from Ofra is the Ofra highlighter in the shade Rodeo Drive. And this is a gorgeous gold. And this one basically made me fall in love with Ofra highlighters. They are just so buttery and so intense and so beautiful. Honestly, there's nothing like Ofra highlighters. They are just amazing. If you guys haven't tried them, please at least try one. If you guys love, again, super intense highlights, if you don't really want to go for like mainstream brands like Anastasia or Becca, go with Ofra. And they always have a discount code with a certain influencer so you can save some money. So it's never really like you're paying full price for these. They are pricey, but honestly, I think that these highlights are so worth it for me. Like, I really hate spending like $30 or $40 on a highlight anymore. If I do, I'll only go for like one because I really want to try the formula. But I don't normally get like really high-end highlights unless I'm shopping like the Sephora sale or if I can get some kind of discount on it. So the other one that I absolutely love is the Ofra highlighter that was in collaboration with Nikki Tutorials, and this one is called Glazed Donut. And this one, again, is so freaking stunning. It is so pigmented. This one is just amazing. It's even more pigmented, I feel like, than Rodeo Drive. So this one is Glazed Donut, and again, it's like that beautiful, like, intense, like, frosty white gold kind of shade. And I am so happy that Nikki Tutorials came out with a collaboration with Ofra so she could pretty much do justice to the highlight queen that she is, because honestly, when she came out with that really like underwhelming collaboration with Too Faced, a lot of people were upset with that because they felt that it was a scam, and they were like, what is this collaboration? Like, you're the queen of highlighters, you should be coming out with something that is blinding. And this is definitely what she should have came out with before. I understand Too Faced is a much bigger company than Ofra, obviously, because it's a mainstream brand, but nothing beats this formula. And honestly, the highlights from Ofra are 10 million times better than Too Faced highlighters. I only have like 4 Too Faced highlighters in my collection, and honestly, I could do without them and just have these because Ofra highlighters are absolutely amazing. So I can't rave about Ofra highlights enough. I think I talked about them in my last top favorite highlights video, and it's just absolutely amazing. So that's it for formulas. Now let's just move on to like my top favorites. I'm gonna mention my top favorites first, and then I'll talk about some other ones. Of course, again, I can't mention a favorite highlighter in a high-end favorite highlights without mentioning my Lancome Dual Finish Highlighter Multitasking Illuminating Powder All Day Wear in the shade Sparkling Peach. Of course, you guys know I freaking love this highlight. It's just so amazing. The formula of this is just so stunning. As you guys can see, I have loved this highlight for a while now, and I did hit pan on it a couple months back. I just cannot ever get enough of this highlight. It is literally like one of the most stunning highlights I've ever used in my life. Again, look at that intensity. Do you see how it reflects even shinier than the Ofra highlights? I mean, again, Ofra highlights are amazing, but do you see, since it's kind of like a cream to powder kind of hybrid, it's even more intense than the Ofra ones, and do you see how much it reflects in the light? It's just so beautiful, honestly. Like, if you guys don't want to pay, this is like $40, but honestly, I feel like this highlight is worth it. But don't get it until there is a Sephora sale. Don't spend the $40 on it. Get the 20% off, so at least you can have somewhat of a discount on it. But the Lancome highlights, I don't know what they put in these, but they're literally like magical on the face. I absolutely love this. I love mixing it with other highlights as well. I love adding it to other gold highlights to make it more intense. This is just one of my all-time favorites, if not my all-time favorite highlight ever. It's just amazing. I don't know why people sleep on Lancome, because this is probably my favorite highlighter I've ever used. Like, once this came out, like, honestly, like, Champagne Pop just took a back seat for me. And this was the highlight I was using every single day. Like, it basically replaced that for me, because this is like a warm tone peach shade. Like, Champagne Pop is a little bit more peachy, but this one is just, it's so amazing. But like I said, if you don't want to spend like the $40 on this, go for the Physicians Formula butter highlighters, not butter bronzers, butter highlighters. Those are amazing on the skin as well. They're so beautiful and intense, and I absolutely love those as well. And then of course, I have to mention this one too. Like, I feel like you guys know probably exactly which ones I'm going to talk about. But of course, I have to mention my beloved Dose of Colors Desi and Katie Fuego highlighter. I think that this was the first highlight that I hit pan on before Sparkling Peach, and it was the first highlighter that I hit pan on since Opal. Like, I was trying so hard to hit pan on certain highlighters this year, and I'm so proud of myself that I hit pan on Lancome's Sparkling Peach and this guy. But again, this highlight is just amazing. I really didn't think I was going to fall in love with this highlighter as much as I did. I'm like, oh, it's stunning, like, don't get me wrong. but I didn't think I was going to love it half as much as I actually did. And this highlighter is stunning. Again, it has more of a powdery formula. And of course, it's that intense gold that I love, but look how pretty that is. It just has like that really buttery, really beautiful, intense formula. Again, I use this all the time. I use it to mix with my other gold highlights to add more of an intensity. I always know if I use another highlight to mix it with another highlighter, I know that that's one of my favorite highlights because it's like, oh, it needs a little extra something, something. And the 3 that I always go for when I wear gold, or 4, is the Anastasia Loose highlighter, the Lancome Sparkling Peach, the Amrezy by Anastasia Beverly Hills, and this guy. Those are always like my 4 that I go for whenever I want to add an extra intensity to any highlight. And this one is amazing as well. I can't rave about that one enough either. Okay, now a more recent addition to my collection, but honestly, this has crept up all the way to the top of my list already. Milk Makeup honestly comes out with some of the most like innovative and interesting products, and I had to mention the Milk Makeup Flex Highlighter in the shade Iced. This highlight, again, doesn't really look like much until you actually put it on the face, and I know that the colors that came out in these highlights weren't really all that unique. But this is beautiful on the skin. It just honestly glides on. And this is what it looks like. I hope I didn't eat like some bad fish for lunch because I did have some shrimp for lunch and I'm not feeling that great right now. But I think I'll be fine. It's just probably because I'm talking too long. But this one is that the one? Yeah, that's it. Honestly, this highlight is so creamy and so buttery. And this is what it looks like when you swatch it. But honestly, you guys, you really have to just apply this to your face. It doesn't really look like much when you swatch it. When you put it on your face, it is just so beautiful. Again, this is just such one of those formulas that just glides on your face. You don't have to build it up too much. And it just goes on beautifully. And it just looks so stunning on the face. It's even more gold and blinding on the face, honestly. Like, the swatch does not do it justice. Okay, so let's just finish off with some of my other favorite, like, individual highlights. There's only, like, 3 more here, and then I just have a couple in other kits, and that's about it. So this one, again, like, just really surprised me on how much I actually really do love this highlight. And this is the Natasha Denona Super Glow Highlighter in the shade, Dual Chrome Highlighter in the shade 01 Fair. Again, this is kind of similar to the Milk Makeup one where honestly you really have to apply this to your face in order to see how beautiful it is. And I know that's a little bit annoying because like you don't want to like necessarily pay like $30 or $40 for these just to see how it performs on the face first. Like most people judge a product when they see it swatched in the store. Like probably 99% of the people that are going to shop for makeup and want to get into highlighters, like, aren't going to, like, start with Natasha Denona unless they're, like, a clearly, like, makeup lover like me that, like, sees other YouTubers talk about these products, and that's why I end up getting these products. But this, honestly, it's just so pretty. Like, again, it really just doesn't look like anything when you swatch it. Like, if you can see that swatched, again, it really looks like nothing. Like, it's really not going to look like anything. That's what it looks like on my hand. And it does look really pretty swatched there. But on the face, it's just, again, like just a beautiful sheen. And it's super, super shiny and super intense. And it's just one of those formulas, again, that just glides onto the face. I don't ever have to worry about this not showing up on my skin. Same for some of the other highlighters I showed you, but I think this one, I've never had a problem with it showing up on my skin out of all the highlights that I'm talking about, which is weird. But I think it's just because of the super buttery gliding on formula, and I just love it. And also I think because sometimes super intense highlighters can become kind of chalky and kind of too intense and too sparkly. And sometimes it depends on like how much powder you put on. But like these kind of glidey type of formulas like this one and the Milk Makeup one, these are very similar formulas to me. And they are amazing on the skin and they just glide on your face. Which sometimes it's weird that like those kind of highlights you would think weren't going to be like as intense on the skin as ones that swatch really intensely and beautifully, but then they turn out to be like even more amazing. I just want to mention these two first because these are still like my favorites over the other two that I'm going to talk, over the other like couple of ones that I'm going to talk about. So I wanted to mention two palettes first. So the first one is the Dior Backstage Glow Face Palette, and this palette was everywhere a couple of months ago. Basically, before Jaclyn Hill started talking about the other highlight that I'm going to show you guys, she was talking about this guy, and this was like the only highlighting palette she was talking about for a while. And this is the Dior Backstage Glow Face Palette, and honestly, this palette isn't really too pricey. So these are the four highlights that come in here. So we have like this really beautiful white, which is like this strobe highlight. Then we have the gold, which is a strobe as well. So these are like the two highlight shades in the palette. And then this one is a blush, and this one is a bronzer. I don't use this color, honestly, so I guess this palette's only worth about $30 for me instead of $40, excuse me. But I don't really use like glowy kind of bronzers. I mostly got this palette to try out the highlights. And the pink I never use as a blush. I always use it, excuse me, as a highlighter. But these are also really beautiful on the face. They really do swatch really beautifully and intensely. And these are the three shades that I mostly use in the palette, but I mostly use the palette for the two top shades, which is the white and the gold, which are obviously the highlighters. But they, again, have a beautiful gliding on type of formula. They're a little bit more intense than the other two I was talking about, but I find that these are kind of similar to the Milk highlighter. But this one's even like more intense and a little bit more glittery. So that's the white, that's the gold, and that's the pink. So it really is a beautiful, stunning little palette. And again, the Backstage collection from Dior is a little bit less pricey than other products in their line, like the foundation and the face palette. Honestly, were not as expensive as like other products in their collections. Like their other foundations sometimes are like $40 to $50, like $50 almost. But like the Backstage one was like $38, so it wasn't as expensive. So that's why I decided to go with trying more products from the Backstage collections. And they're really nice. So that one is beautiful. And then of course, the one that Jaclyn Hill was talking about, honestly, like I don't want to sound like a Jaclyn Hill fanatic in this video, but she did get me to try some of these highlighters. But this one is definitely the one that she influenced me the most to try, and then a bunch of other YouTubers jumped on the bandwagon to try this highlighter, and then everyone was talking about it because they were like, oh, Jaclyn Hill talked about this, and Jaclyn Hill made me buy it, so then they went out and got it and told their subscribers how amazing it is, and this really is an amazing highlighter. And I'm talking about the Benefit Cheek Leader Mini Bronze Squad, and obviously I'm going to be talking about this middle shade here, which is called Cookie, and that is the highlighter because the other two obviously aren't highlighters. But this highlight is amazing. It is so intense and so beautiful. She basically came out and said that this is like her favorite highlight ever, but look at that. That's probably the most blinding highlight that I showed you guys. Like, that is so intense, so beautiful, like honestly amazing. It is so intense on the skin. Again, with that this highlighter, I never have to worry about it showing up properly on my skin. It shows up like that every single time. It's amazing. If you guys do try the highlighter though, they are coming out with individual highlights of the two colors that were in this kit and also the other kit, which I believe that one's called Tickle. They're coming out with individual ones. So I suggest you buy those rather than buying the little quads or little trios or the face palettes. Honestly, those are expensive. This is not that expensive. This was like, I think this was only 30 bucks, which honestly wasn't too bad. Cause I think it's a good value for what you get in here. But like, don't buy the big one if you don't need it. If you just want to try the highlighter, definitely just buy the individual ones. But if you've never tried the Hoola bronzer or that blush like I haven't, then I suggest you buy the palette because it's pretty much the same price as the individual one. And then another one of my favorite palettes is the Makeup Geek Kathleen Lights highlighting palette. Of course, I couldn't mention something in a video without mentioning Kathleen Lights, but honestly, this is also a really beautiful highlighting palette. I've always loved the Makeup Geek highlighting formula as well. I think they come out with a really beautiful highlighting formula. I usually always fall in love with every single powder product from Makeup Geek. They really have perfected the formula of certain things, but this highlight palette is gorgeous. And the 3 shades that come in here are Sunlight, Starlight, and Nightlight. I mostly just use this palette and mix these shades together. I also love Electrify and Lit, but out of all of them, I would definitely mention the palette over the individual ones. Those are still beautiful. These are also gorgeous as well. I mostly use the gold and the pink. I don't really use Nightlight all that much because, again, that one is darker for me. But I do sometimes mix it with the gold. But these are also really soft and buttery to the touch. So this one, oh my god, I cannot remember which one it is. So this one is the gold and this one is the pink. As you can see, like, I feel like the cookie highlight is kind of throwing off the 2 colors but look how intense those swatch as well. They honestly look more intense when I'm showing them on camera than they do in person. They don't look as intense as they do when I reflect them in the light, obviously, but again, this is a really, really nice palette. I think that this is still available, actually, but I've always really liked this palette. I've gotten a ton of use out of it since I've gotten it like a while ago, and I do still really enjoy using this palette when I can. And I do really like the Makeup Geek formula. I would consider Makeup Geek more high-end prices. Honestly, they've gotten a little bit more expensive over the years. That's why I decided to mention Makeup Geek in this video. They used to be a lot more affordable, but now I feel like they've just went up in price, and I don't know why. Probably just because they just weren't making enough money. Alright, so just a couple more. The one and only NARS highlight I'm going to be mentioning in this video. Honestly, like, I know a lot of people really love NARS highlighters, but for me, it takes a lot for me to be impressed by a NARS highlighter. In the past, like, I feel like their highlights weren't intense enough for me. But I think that this one is definitely my favorite one out of them. And this one is just beautiful on the skin as well. This is the NARS Fort de France highlight. And let me just wipe my hand off a little bit more because we only have a couple more to swatch. But this one is also really pretty on the skin. It has a really nice formula. Again, with these types of highlighters, and this is like kind of like a yellowish white gold. I feel like you have to apply this to the face to see how pretty it is because, again, it's not really going to swatch like too intensely. I mean, it is really, really pretty. If you guys are more into like something that's a little bit more glowy rather than super intense, I would definitely recommend this guy. It is still a little bit expensive because, hello, it is NARS, but get it during the discounts for Sephora and Ulta. I got this at Ulta for the 20% off, and I really do love it. I've definitely grown to love this one, and I've definitely used this one a ton this year, definitely more than all my other NARS highlighters. I definitely reach for this one the most. I think this one is finally the one that I fell in love with from NARS because I feel like the other ones that I have, I don't love as much as this one. I also love the Dual Intensity highlighter blushes. Those are also really beautiful. And then only one from MAC, but I feel like I had to mention this because I really do love this highlighter. Originally, I wasn't even going to mention MAC, but I was like, you know what? I really do love this one, so I wanted to mention the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in the shade Soft and Gentle. Some people have mixed feelings about this, and then some people love this, and some people don't really love it. I love this highlighter. This was my first MAC highlight, and it's still my favorite. It's just so beautiful. Again, it's kind of similar to like the Becca Opal color. It's not too pale, and it's not too dark for me. I think it's somewhere in between. And that one is Soft and Gentle. Again, it's basically self-explanatory. Like, it's a soft and gentle glow on your face. It's not going to be anything too intense, but it's there. And you can definitely see it as a highlight, but It's not going to be too blinding, but it is beautiful. So I've always loved MAC's highlighters, and I've always loved the mineralized skin finishes. So you really can't go wrong with the mineralized skin finishes. Like any of the baked formulas from MAC are always amazing. And Soft and Gentle is a classic highlight. A lot of people love this highlighter. So that one is beautiful as well. And then the last individual one I wanted to mention is Urban Decay's Afterglow highlighter in the shade Sin. I definitely love this more than the Aura highlight. This one is stunning. It's such a beautiful soft gold. Honestly, I really wish that, look at that. That is so intense. Holy crapiolies. So that one is Sin right there. It is a little bit chalky the way that I swatched it. Let me see if I can swatch it a little bit more. I have such like deep pan in this. Who knows if I'll hit pan on that. But that one is Sin right there. And it's such a beautiful, like, light yellow gold. I really wish that Urban Decay had come out with more shades in these. They only came out with 3, and that was it. And then they were just gone. And I was just like, why didn't they come out with more shades? Like, Aura's really pretty. The other one that came out, honestly, was always too deep for my skin tone. But this one I've always loved. And I've used it for such a long time. I was going to use it today because I did wear my Urban Decay Naked palette on my eyes today. But I was like, I really want to use Opal and take it back because I definitely use this more than Opal. But this is still one of my favorites. It's so beautiful. It's still my favorite highlight from Urban Decay. It's amazing that like Urban Decay was my favorite brand for like a long time. But this is like, for some reason, this is the only highlight I ever fell in love with from them because the other highlights that they have are like really, really glittery and they're like those baked formulas that like I never really got on board with and I never even ended up picking them up because I would always hear like negative reviews about them that people just didn't really like them that much. Alright, now let's just mention a couple more. So I just wanted to mention 2 shades from my Lime Crime highlighting palettes. The first one that I wanted to mention, this is from the Blossoms palette. For some reason, I only really truly love one shade out of both of these highlighting palettes, which is a little bit disappointing. I think I like the shades more in the Mermaids one than I do in this one because I feel like I really only reach for this shade, and this one is called Warm Gold, but it's such a intense highlighter, like honestly, like, and it doesn't show up that dark on me, but it's so stunning and it just glides on the face, and look how blinding that is. Like, it's not like too deep bronze for me that I just can't wear it because of how fair I am. It always looks stunning, and it's such a beautiful like summery shade that I absolutely love. So I've always loved that one. And then the other one that I wanted to mention is in the Mermaids palette, and I wanted to mention the shade Pearl, which is the middle shade. This is so beautiful and intense as well. Like, I wish that I could customize, like, the palettes from Lime Crime, because honestly, like, I mean, I definitely use, like, those other shades that are, like, more unique in there a little bit more than the Blossoms palette. I use, like, the purple and the blue in there a lot when I wear, like, you know, really colorful looks, but this one is Pearl, and again, so beautiful and intense. I absolutely love those. They just, again, really glide on the face, and they look so gorgeous on the skin, so I really wanted to mention those 2. Back when they were coming out with those palettes, I wanted to collect all of them, but then I was like, let me just, like, pick 2 that I really wanted to get. And then the last one I wanted to mention is from Beauty Bakery. I could have worn this today, but the highlight that I wanted to mention is the shade Beige Net, and this one is in the Beauty Bakery Scoops Elise palette. This is also stunning. Like, these powders in here are super pigmented, and the highlight is no exception. It is so stunning. So this one is the highlight shade, and this, again, is a beautiful, like, yellow gold kind of shade. And look how intense that is. That is ridiculous. Like, I actually whipped this out and used it finally again like a week ago, and I remembered like how much I absolutely love it. I actually mixed it with that Warm Gold highlight from Lime Crime, and I loved the combination because I wanted to put a little bit of gold in the look as well. Look at that. I've been getting into a lot more Beauty Bakery's like powder products, and honestly I've been so much more impressed with this and their eyeshadow palette than like their liquid lipstick. I was not a fan of their liquid lipsticks. I actually ended up decluttering those like a little while ago because I just never wore them, and I just don't think they're that good. I think their powder products are so much better. Okay, just two more I wanted to mention, and then for some reason, like, I got super, super hungry recording this video. I had breakfast and lunch, and I'm, like, starving again. I don't know why. So the other two I wanted to mention, I'm not going to really be able to show them to you, but I will swatch them. I forgot that I had put these away in, like, a box because they had, unfortunately, like, dropped, like, a few months back, so I can't really store them like with the rest of my highlighters. So the first one I wanted to mention is the Jouer powder highlighter in the shade Skinny Dip. You guys, like, this one has never really performed as well since I actually did drop it, but if you want a super blinding highlight, you go with Jouer. Like, if you want to be glowing all summer, this is the highlight for you. Like, this is basically like the So Hollywood highlight in like powder form. Look how beautiful that glided on. It's just, again, super buttery, amazing. Like, again, I ended up falling in love more with Jouer's powder products than their actual lipsticks. I don't really have too many products from Jouer, but I do really love their highlights. The highlights are hyped up for a reason. These are amazing. Like, if you don't believe the hype about Ofra and Jouer highlights, they're amazing. You have to try them. At least try one. And then, like, I literally wore this all summer last summer when I first got it. I was obsessed with this highlight. I would wear it, like, almost every single day because it was so beautiful and intense for the summertime. It's the perfect summer highlight. And then my last favorite, an oldie but a goodie, is the Mary Luminizer in the shade Mary Luminizer. You guys know that this is the old school highlight that everyone talked about. Unfortunately, mine is shattered, but I will swatch it for you. Again, this highlight is so beautiful. I will never get rid of it. It is amazing on the skin. It's super shiny, super buttery, and I love it. It's so beautiful for fair skin tones. Let me see if I can get a better swatch because I can't really see anything. That's what that looks like. Oh my god, so pretty. It's like this beautiful like yellow, white, gold, which if you guys didn't realize, I love those kind of colors, and I love gold highlights because gold highlights are like my home, and I did show you guys my favorite gold highlighters. So yeah, that is pretty much it, you guys. But this one is a beautiful glidey formula. It's like super intense on the face. I need to whip this out and wear it again. It's amazing. I love it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Sorry it was a little bit all over the place. Like, for some reason I started getting more and more hungry as I was filming this video. But you guys know that Joseph Colors Fuego and Lancome's Sparkling Peach are like my ride or dies. I absolutely love both of these highlights so much. And Anastasia's So Hollywood Loose Highlighter is, this was my favorite summer highlight this summer over the Jouer. I was grabbing for this constantly. Absolutely amazing. And then, of course, I still love my Emreezy highlighter from Anastasia Beverly Hills and Emreezy. Like, they killed it with this. This highlighter is amazing. And, oh, of course, Benefits Cookie, like, amazing, absolutely love it. And then, Milk's, Flex Highlighter definitely crawled up my list pretty quickly, and it's absolutely amazing. So, I would say those are, like, my top 5 or 6. Again, not really ranking them, but yeah, that's pretty much it, you guys. So I'm definitely going to be doing a part 2 talking about my favorite drugstore highlighters or affordable highlights, because I'm definitely going to be including ColourPop in that video. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm so glad I finally got around to filming it. Again, sorry that it was all over the place. So I love you guys. Please like and subscribe. Follow me on all my social media. Please let me know in the comments below what your favorite high-end highlighter is. If you have like a top 5, just a top favorite holy grail, let me know. Please let me know, and let me know if I need to try them. All right? Bye! And I do love the Artist Couture highlight as well. I was thinking about mentioning that too, but I think I love this more. So yeah, that's it. Bye!